From slugging marshals to launching at rivals, this is what happens when Formula One drivers lose control.
Colombian driver, I couldn't help it, and take that, oh my goodness.
In the adrenaline-fueled, pressure cooker world of F1, emotions run hotter than an overheated brake disc. Blood is spilled, podiums snatched, and race wins are flipped. Even world championships altered. But when these Formula One drivers lose their sparks fly, sometimes literally.
He's going to have it out with David Coulthard. This is a bit like that.
And the results are some of the most unforgettable, jaw-dropping meltdown moments in racing history. Let's dive into the wildest blow-ups ever. And more importantly, see what sparked the fire. Arguably one of the most iconic clashes in Formula One history was Michael Schumacher versus David Coulthard during the Belgian Grand Prix in 1998 at Spa. The race itself was absolute chaos from the very start. A massive pile-up at Turn 1 in torrential rain resulted in one of the worst opening laps the sport has ever seen. That alone would have cemented the race in the memory of fans, but it was far from over. Once the race restarted, Michael Schumacher was in full control, masterfully pulling away and building a massive 30-second lead. But then came the moment that changed everything. Schumacher approached backmarker David Coulthard to lap him. Due to the horrendous visibility caused by the relentless rain, Schumacher didn't see that Coulthard had lifted off the throttle to let him by. The result? Schumacher ploughed straight into the back of the McLaren, ripping the front suspension clean off his Ferrari and ending his race on the spot. Absolutely furious, Schumacher stormed down to the McLaren garage, convinced that Coulthard had brake-checked him or acted recklessly. According to Coulthard, Schumacher accused him of trying to kill him. There were even claims that Schumacher threatened him during the confrontation. It was raw, intense, and totally unfiltered. Pure, uncut fury played out live on the world's biggest motorsport stage, reminding us that even the most composed champions have their breaking points. Up next, we're going to unpack a lifetime of shocking moments in a matter of minutes, so don't go anywhere. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more crazy F1 stories, and drop a comment below. Do you miss the wild and chaotic days of Formula One? Or do you prefer your motorsports neat and tidy? Fast forward to 2021, and we find another storm brewing, this time between George Russell and Valtteri Bottas at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. The rain was back, the track slick, and the pressure mounting. Bottas, in a surprisingly uncompetitive Mercedes, was struggling in 9th place. Russell, then driving for Williams, was making a name for himself and had closed in on Bottas at blistering speed. As they approached the high-speed kink of Turn 1, Russell attempted an overtake at over 190 miles per hour. Bottas slightly adjusted his line, and in the slippery conditions, Russell lost control. What followed was a spectacular crash that destroyed both cars and scattered debris all over the circuit. Both drivers were visibly shaken, but physically okay. What came next was pure drama. Russell stormed over to Bottas, shouted at him, and slapped his helmet in frustration. Bottas, in turn, gave him the middle finger. Why so tense? Well, Russell was widely tipped to replace Bottas at Mercedes the following year, so the crash wasn't just about points, it was a battle for future glory. While no penalties were handed down, the incident sparked a heated debate over responsibility, racing etiquette, and professionalism that had the paddock buzzing for weeks. Then there's the infamous 2018 Brazilian Grand Prix, spat between Max Verstappen and Esteban Ocon. In another unforgettable showdown at Interlagos, Max found himself at the centre of yet another controversy. He had driven a stellar race, taking the lead in tricky conditions and staying ahead of the pack, until disaster struck. On lap 44, backmarker Esteban Ocon, on fresher tyres, attempted to unlap himself. Ocon went side by side with Verstappen into Turn 1. The two collided and Max spun out, handing the race win to Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen was livid. On the radio, he unleashed a tirade, calling Ocon an idiot. After the race, he hunted down Ocon at the driver weigh-in and physically shoved him multiple times in front of cameras and officials. Ocon claimed Verstappen tried to punch him, calling the behaviour unprofessional. Although Ocon received a 10-second stop-go penalty for causing the collision, Verstappen didn't walk away free either. He was ordered to serve community service by the FIA for his antics, an unusual but memorable penalty for a post-race physical altercation. This next moment is truly one for the history books. During the 1982 German Grand Prix at Hockenheim, Nelson Piquet was comfortably leading the race when he came up to lap Chilean driver Eliseo Salazar. What should have been a routine maneuver turned into chaos. Salazar misjudged the braking zone at the chicane and collided with Piquet, knocking the Brazilian out of the race. Enraged, Piquet jumped out of his Brabham and made a beeline for Salazar. He didn't hesitate. He punched him repeatedly and even attempted a karate-style kick. Salazar didn't retaliate. He was probably too stunned to react. What made this even more surreal was that Piquet had mentored Salazar in his early racing career. The sheer emotion and frustration of losing a sure win boiled over in violent fashion. Legendary commentator Murray Walker captured it perfectly with his astonished exclamation, "Take that! Oh my goodness!" This was more than a racing incident. It was an explosive clash between mentor and student right in front of the cameras. No list of emotional F1 blow-ups would be complete without James Hunt, a driver known for his fiery passion both on and off the track. The man was infamous for his temper and talent in equal measure. While he's remembered for his rivalry with Niki Lauda and his wild lifestyle, one of his most regrettable moments happened at Mosport, Canada in 1977. Hunt was racing for McLaren and battling Mario Andretti for the win when he tried to lap teammate Jochen Mass. The maneuver didn't go well. Hunt veered off track, crashed, and was forced to retire. A track marshal rushed to assist him, unsure if Hunt was hurt. Hunt was furious and began storming back toward the pit lane. The marshal tried to stop him from walking onto the live circuit, doing his job, but Hunt turned around and punched him so hard he knocked him to the ground, a brutal jab that landed him in the medical centre. The marshal, Eddie Strong, later recounted how stunned and betrayed he felt. Hunt later tried to make amends, throwing an arm around the marshal after the incident, but the damage was done, literally and figuratively. It was a raw example of how pressure, pride, and rage can override reason, but Hunt's temper and charm made him one of F1's most loved and relatable characters. While most examples on this list are from the heat of racing battles, even qualifying sessions can bring out the worst in a driver. Lance Stroll had a disastrous qualifying session in Qatar 2023, getting knocked out in Q1 while his teammate Fernando Alonso was over a second faster. Frustrated beyond words, Stroll exited his car and in a moment of pure anger appeared to shove his personal trainer. No punches thrown, but it was a stark display of simmering rage. Despite the footage being widely circulated, no formal punishment was handed down. While some chalked it up to frustration, others questioned whether such behaviour would be tolerated from a driver without family ties in team ownership. The fine line between passion and rage. At its core, Formula One demands perfection, but beneath the polished helmets and million-dollar machinery lies a pressure cooker of stress, rivalry, and nerves. When things go wrong, whether due to weather, bad luck, or just human error, drivers can lose it spectacularly. Whether it's flying punches, helmet smacks, or rage-fueled shoves, these outbursts reveal the intense humanity behind the sport's gladiators. They're controversial, theatrical, sometimes regrettable, but always unforgettable. Because, let's face it, F1 isn't just about machines screaming around tracks. It's about the clash of titans, raw emotion, and moments that make you gasp and laugh and shake your head all at once. And that, my friends, is the glorious madness of Formula One.